What's up, everybody? This is Damien. I was just checking in with y'all this evening.
What's up, everybody?
Wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the real estate market. Last week we kind of touched on this, but we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about the inventory shortage that we seem to have. Why are there not more available homes for sale? And I wrote a blog this week that I want to kind of, this kind of talking about this. And so my goal here on these live videos is to keep people informed, to try and explain some of the things in the market that's going on so that people understand and just stay abreast of what's going on with information. And so, that's a big question that I get a lot of times is why are there so few houses? There's just not a lot of inventory that is currently for sale. And so that leads to, the competition, it leads to the prices staying high, it leads to, a lot of things. And we're dealing really with, an affordability crisis when it comes to homes. Prices have gone up so much. And then the interest rates have gone up so much on top of that, that it makes homes a lot less affordable. So what is going on here and where is all this coming from? And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I do want to be able to show some of the information that I've got on here. There's the share screen button. We'll go here. And so this is the blog article that you can go check out. This is going to be found on my website, which is buyingbatonrouge.com. And so if you want to go to the blog article itself, you can see the URL up here. But anyway, I titled this The Truth Behind the Inventory Crisis and Understanding the Real Estate Shortage in the Greater Baton Rouge Market. And so there's several things that are going on here as to what is really causing this. And it's not COVID-19 only, and it's not interest rates only. There's a much bigger picture that goes all the way back to really 2009 that has caused this problem that we're experiencing now. And so just to kind of summarize this real quick, back in 2000 and in the late 2000s, obviously we all know what happened. There was a real estate bubble. We had an influx of foreclosures that hit the real estate market. And there was people who were who were buying these homes, and then really, honestly, they were turning around in a lot of instances that I've read about. They weren't even home 6 months before they were being foreclosed on. And so, a lot of that point, we've all heard the term on the news, subprime lending and all that. And basically what that means is that the lenders were not doing as good a job as they should have, or as they do today. The lending standards were a lot less strict. And so people were getting into these houses maybe when they really shouldn't have. And so what it caused the real estate bubble. A lot of foreclosures flooded the market. And those foreclosures, then what they did is we went from a normal market, to a market with a huge amount of inventory. And that huge amount of inventory lasted a few years. And during that time, our home builders, all over the country, really, prior to 2008, they were steady building. And then when the market got flooded, it drastically dropped off as far as the new constructions. And so how does that then affect us in today's market? Well, when we're dealing with new construction homes, those are your move-up homes. Those are a lot of people buy those new construction homes as their second home or their third home or even their fourth home. Because you're always starting in that starter home here, and then you're just kind of gradually moving up. And so what happened is that they went from producing a high number of homes to a much lower number of homes, and that lasted for several years. And really, it's lasted. I mean, just in the last couple of years, have we started to really crank that home building back up. And so we had a period of time of about 16 years to where it really wasn't. There really wasn't enough homes being built. And so that really didn't make a difference at the time. But now that we are here where we are, there's a lot more demand, and there's a lot of other factors now that have increased that pinch. Number one, we just got off of a market in the last couple of years that had record interest rates. It's so funny because, growing up, my first mortgage interest rate, I should say, was around 7%. And when you're dealing with other people, you hear, my parents and, people that are older than me, oh, or back in the 80s, they were 13%, 14, 15%. Honestly, the record, I think it's 18 point, I forget exactly, 18.4 or something like that is actually the record of where it got to. And then we have today's home buyers and everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're at six, or 6.5 or 7. And so we've gotten accustomed to these low interest rates. But like I said, I alluded to earlier, one of the things that really compounds this is the housing prices. And so those housing prices being high, back in the 80s, you can buy a good house for 50, 60, $70,000. Now in today's market, that's not the case. And so, we really have gotten priced out of the market a lot. A lot of people have gotten priced out of the market just because the market's so high. And so what is causing that? Because there's been a lot of talk over the last 3 or 4 years. Oh, we're about to have another real estate bubble. We're about to have this. Could that happen? Well, I'm not going to say it couldn't happen, but let me tell you what's going to happen for it to happen. If we're going to have another 2008, 2009, where prices just absolutely come crashing down like they did, we're going to have a whole lot more listings. And I just explained to you that those, the reason why we're having such a shortage, and this article kind of talks about it a little bit. You can kind of see too, this is some projections on just some growth in where historical trends. And again, we're talking mostly Baton Rouge here. But just some historical trends of where the Greater Baton Rouge market has been. So you're looking in the 1950s, this is the number of people and population. And so we've been on a steady incline, and still project to be, and, we're not growing as fast as other cities, but we're still projected to be, on a steady incline of population in our area. And so that demand is higher. And if we're not having any new houses built, then we have a higher demand and less inventory, and it's just natural supply and demand. But these new houses not being built, it's drastically affected the number of available homes. And then when you had those low interest rates, boom, everybody jumped on it. And so that's where we had all that competition in the market a couple of years ago, right during COVID. Then you got the supply chain issues, you got the, all the other things that, we're dealing with. And in all honesty, it's really just been a huge, perfect storm, that's kind of all come together from the last 17, 18 years, and then into the more recent events of COVID and some of the other things. And so, it's definitely something that, it's hard to fix. So it's going to take time. It's not something that's going to be overnight. And so when we're talking about this bubble, why the real estate market's not going to be in a bubble, it's because we just don't have the inventory. If you go back and look at that bubble that happened in 08, 09, 2010, it was all those foreclosures that we talked about that flooded the market, that caused the market to become so saturated, so full of inventory that the prices just plummet. When you got too much inventory, prices plummet. And so that's what's going on here. And so in today's market, we really don't have that inventory. And so, like I said, I'm not going to say a bubble could never happen. It could. But the thing that's going to make it happen, if it does happen, it's going to be an all of a sudden an influx of inventory. Right now in the Greater Baton Rouge market, let me see if I have the MLS open real quick, and I'll pull it up for you. But we are under 3,000 homes for sale, at least as I looked over the weekend. Let me make sure it's still that case here. Let me reshare the screen. So we are under 3,000 homes, and so what we're going to look for is active homes. Hold on, let me do this a little bit different way. Let me go to my Baton Rouge search. So I've already got built. Here we go. And so this is all the parishes, parishes that are in the Greater Baton Rouge market. We're looking just for the active listings. And if you go back and look, see, we're at 2,500 homes. And so, how does that calculate? You probably hear a terminology of months of inventory or whatever. How does that then translate? How does that calculate into what we have available? And so basically what you do is you take the total number of homes divided by the homes sold in the last 30 days. And so if we go take that 2,500 and we look at the solds in the last 30 days, right here, last 30 days. So you see we're at 605. So if you divide that, that'll give you the months. And so that puts us a little bit over 4 months, I believe is where it is, which is more than what we had been. We, back in the time of COVID, we were at, we were like 1.5 months or 1.4 months. It was ridiculous. So let's see, 605. So yeah, that puts a 4.2 month inventory currently sitting right now. Now, we're also getting into the spring season. What we expect to see is a lot of talk's been happening about the interest rates. That's what's going on with interest rates. Are interest rates going to continue to come down? They probably will. And so when that does happen, we're going to start to see an increase in buyer demand. And so what's going to happen again is it's going to continue. We will get some new houses on the market, obviously, but for the reasons we had already explained, will it be enough? Will it be enough to really get us to that 5 to 6 month of inventory? Because all of a sudden you're going to start selling more, and if the inventory stays the same, then the inventory is going to drop. The inventory percent, per month, of months of inventory, I should say. So lots of things that are going on in the market. There is, a lot of questions that people have. If you have questions, I am very, very happy to answer them. It's, this group has been something that I've been really thinking about for a long time, wanting to be a part of for a long time, to be able to provide this kind of information to the public and to be able to answer questions. So I think there's only one person on here. There's been a few people watching, throughout, but if you have questions, let me know. Please let me know, because I'm here to answer them. And Damian Touye with Remax Alliance, post them in the comments below. I'd love to answer them. And, we'll do some more of these videos in the future to kind of keep everybody up to date on what the market is doing and what's going on with it. So hope you have a great night, and hope you stay dry, because the rain is crazy out there. It's been wild. And then we will chat with you another day. All right. Talk to you soon.